I want to thank Jason for giving me a chance to talk a little bit about grit leadership. I mean, it's piloted here at Grand Rapids Christian years ago. By the grace of God, it's spread around our area, around our state and our country. And I appreciate him believing in kind of these ideas that we talked about. And I'm honored to be able to share a little bit of this passion with you today, you know, in something that I think will really help us to kind of rethink things. Grit leadership exists for you, for your kids. It officially exists to equip and empower leaders to build a gritty, more adaptable, more resilient generation of people, whether that's the generation you are in or the generation that you lead, your children. But it helps coaches and ADs lead with more effective strategies that maybe rethink the norms of society. Maybe then that helps us decide if we have a better way to lead than what the normal way is. And so tonight I have two things centered around athletic performance and emotions that we feel as parents and as ADs and as coaches and all these things, the leaders as ambassadors of Grand Rapids Christian Athletics. And these things can be challenging for us to manage. And so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to chat about this. And I appreciate Jason giving us the opportunity to do it. Anybody here have one of these stickers on their car? I think it's great. It shows that you're a supporter of Grand Rapids Christian and that the people in that car represent Grand Rapids Christian. But what's interesting is that the way that car behaves on the road also says something about Grand Rapids Christian. And so, you know, as I'm driving on East Paris and somebody cuts me off and I see the sticker on the back of their car and it's from another school that maybe I don't support as much, I think, oh yeah, that figures. A person from that school would cut me off and behave like that. So they're putting out something to others by having a sticker on their car that's representing that school. And what I want to say is that, you know, we represent Grand Rapids Christian, but more importantly, we also represent Christ and Christianity. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing we're putting Christ on display for all to see. And so that's why typically on all my cars, I put this sticker on the back just to be safe, okay? But in all seriousness, we're called to be different as Christians and as Grand Rapids Christian. Jesus was much different than the norm. I believe we're called to be different than the norm as an athletic community by the way we play, the way we act in the stands, the way that we communicate together. And so today, it can be really hard, right? It can get really difficult in the very public world of athletics when emotional things happen and the norm or how we see things happening starts to take over and we start to react in those ways. And I think we can handle them better if we're thinking about it than what the norm or what society does. Here's Duke's women's basketball coach, Karen Lawson, who's a force in leadership, talking about how things are hard, but how we can handle hard better.
How we all wait in life for things to get easier. Think in your own life, if you waited for something to get easier, oh, I just got to get through this and then it'll be easy. I just got to get through preseason and then it'll be okay. I've just got to get through my junior year of high school and then the classes are going to get easier. Or I've just got to get to my spring, my senior year of college and it's going to be easier. It's what we do. We wait for stuff to get easier. It will never get easier. What happens is you handle hard better. That's what happens. Most people think that it's going to get easier. Life is going to get easier. Basketball is going to get easier. School's going to get easier. It never gets easier. What happens is you become someone that handles hard stuff better. So that's a mental shift that has to occur in each of your brains. It has to. Because if you go around waiting for stuff to get easier in life, it's never going to happen.
And I show this because putting Christ on display can be a really challenging thing. In emotional moments, it's never going to get easier to put Christ on display in a positive way. It's only going to get harder. And so really it's about, are we going to handle this hard thing and this public thing of athletics better than the norm? Can we rethink how we do it to handle it a little bit better? So today, stuff centered around coach and player choices. This is a huge thing that all of us, whether we watch TV, go to a game, whether we know the players or don't, when we see things happen in sports and the player decisions and the coach decisions, we become critics. We become people that start to think about it and know a little bit better. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the idea of resulting. Super Bowl 49, 20 seconds left, one timeout, second down, at least 3 plays left in the game from the 1 yard line. The Seattle Seahawks have the best running back in the league, Marshawn Lynch, and they have the second best quarterback in the league, besides Tom Brady, of course, in Russell Wilson. And they have a choice to make with 20 seconds left. How are they going to handle these last few plays with only one timeout? Here's what happened.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal.
They try to pick play, Al. They tried to go here, but he beats them to the punch. And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call. You've got Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. You've got a guy that's been borderline unstoppable in this part of the field. I can't believe the call.
You can imagine what the rest of this video is about. It's sound bites of every announcer that ever announced or had credibility saying this is the worst call in Super Bowl history. And why? Because it didn't work. The result wasn't what they thought, so they make a judgment and it didn't work. But what if that pass had taken them by more surprise and they scored a touchdown? Everybody would say, oh my gosh, it was the greatest play in the history of sports. You have the best running back in the league. The Patriots think they're going to run the ball. And what do? They throw the pass and win the game. It's brilliant. Or what if it was incomplete? And then what if they threw another one and then they ran it in and they said, oh man, but they just kept them off balance because they wanted to maximize the clock, use all 3 plays, keep the Patriots guessing, and then they won. Like there's a million ways this could have worked out and all the commentary would have been different. It's what we call resulting. Results are totally uncontrollable. The only thing we get to control is our decisions and our choices. And often in life, we base our happiness or our positive or negative thoughts or our approval, disapproval, or when we think someone's smart or dumb or great or bad on something that's totally uncontrollable. And maybe this is normal to do that, but maybe it's not wise. I would call it living on the roller coaster of results.
Play clock at 5.
See, everybody's going to do things that you don't understand. And in those moments, I think it's really important for us to think about, do we want to be on the roller coaster of results? I plead with you, don't think a coach is great because they won and don't think a coach is bad because they lost. There's so much more to it. Same with the players. And again, it's normal to live the roller coaster of resulting. And everybody knows better once something happened. Just like all those announcers, they all knew better once the bad thing happened. But we have to it's really hard to be emotional in those moments and stay calm and not make those judgments and not say it to everyone. It's really hard. It's not going to get easier, especially when your kid's involved. But if we're conscious of it, we might be able to catch ourselves and handle that hard thing of resulting a bit better. And then the second thing around player choices is the idea of, is it right or effective? And so the clip that I have for you is from the Cavs and Golden State Warriors. The game was tied with 4 seconds left. George Hill, a 10-year veteran, misses a free throw to put them ahead. J.R. Smith actually gets the offensive rebound, has a chance to win the game, but thinks they're already ahead. To us, an unthinkable thing, but he made a mistake. And the following footage is what happens after the timeout, or after the quarter ends and they go into overtime. This is what happens.
Now, have you ever been in a situation where you messed up and everyone around knows that? That's what he's feeling. Shame. The only person that has the power to rectify the situation is LeBron. Has there been any communication yet? They're both on an island. Now, it's really easy to sit here and judge LeBron, but I'm going to challenge you to think back to when you were in school and you had to do group projects and you were carrying all the work. That's what it feels like. So LeBron at this point in the game has 49 points and has played arguably one of his greatest games of all time. The guy that missed a free throw was a 10-year veteran. JR was a 14-year vet and he forgot time and score. And the coach didn't call a timeout. So it could be very easy for LeBron to sit here and think, I'm pulling all the weight. Can we agree with that? Notice, no words have still been spoken by LeBron to JR. Now, what you're going to see is Tyronn Lue, the head coach, is going to come into the huddle momentarily, and LeBron's going to ask him a question. Pay attention to the body language. So he's searching. He asked Tyronn, do we not have any timeouts? This is the moment that LeBron finds out that they did have a timeout and Tyronn didn't call it. What's his body language say to you? He's in the tunnel. I'm going to LA. Now you're going to see a role player come up and try and reach LeBron. LeBron is unreachable. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do you want to be right or do you want to be effective?
I love where that pauses, because often as parents, as adults in the gym, on the field, in the stands, we're LeBron. We're the one that can make the difference. We can bridge the gap. We can bring healing to the situation. And we have the power to do so. And it's hard because in those moments, we know what went wrong. We feel like we've got the right answers and that we know how to fix it. And we want to be right. And we can be on islands and we can not build bridges. We can do all those things. And LeBron is an incredible player. And I guarantee you, he learned a ton from this situation, but they lost the game. They lost the series. LeBron was right. He was handling everything. His emotions told him that, and it didn't help. And he needed to be effective. And it's really hard to sit in the stands with those emotions and those moments and not yell out at the player. But then we got to remember that that player's parents and family are sitting right in front of us. And that there's people around us that are wondering, what is Grand Rapids Christian like? And they hear us yelling at a player for making a dumb play. And then we yell at the coach. And we forget that the coach's family is sitting there. And the coach's mom, the coach's wife or husband. And people wonder, like, what is it like here? And it's hard because we want to be right. We want to tell everybody why we're right. And I'm really good at that too. And it's not a good and admirable thing about me. And I have to work really hard at this one. But it's normal to let those emotions out in sport. We do it to refs, we do it to coaches, we do it to fans, we do it to everybody. We let those emotions out and it's normal, but maybe it's not the best. Maybe it doesn't put Christ on display in the way that we could, and it's really hard. But maybe we can handle that hard thing a little bit better. And so we wear the C and we wear Christ in our athletic programs. We wear Christian on our jerseys and our hats and our cars. It's not going to be easy because we will disagree. We want to do what feels normal in those emotional moments. But if we can put Christ on display in a positive way by handling hard things better, maybe staying off the resulting roller coaster a little bit and focus on being effective people that are bridge builders, that give what the team needs in those moments instead of trying to be right. Maybe we can make an even bigger difference in our own community, to each other first and foremost, but even more to those around us, and most importantly, to the kingdom of Christ, how we put him on display. Go Eagles, and thank you very much for listening.